Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Drawing Down the Stars. I'm Snappy, and thank you for joining me for this our live tarot session on today, July, 15th, 2024. Beautiful to be here with you all. I'm so happy to be here. So as always, let's give a shout out to the chat. Good to see you, Lisa. Good to see you, Nikosmas, Carrie Ann, Gandhi. Much love, Mother Rhea. Good to see you, Kari. Good evening, Graham. Good evening, Dorian Price. Good to see you, Lord Patrick. Good to see you, Pixie. All right. This is going to be an amazing day. Good to see you, Demon Artemission. All right. Lovely, 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 lovely. So as always, let's start by talking a bit about our astrology. Oh, and shout out here to Sixtus and to Mukio. So we're still dealing with this really intense energy of the moon in Scorpio, right? This is a time when we're going to be very sensitive, when our emotions are going to be worn on our sleeve, when we are going to be just kind of very aware of what hurts us and how we feel about things. So this is a very interesting time because it's also an opportunity when we can really change our habits. When we can really transform ourselves, we go through that process of seeing what doesn't work and casting it aside. This is that energy of having the strength to do that, to be in that very critical, very cutting kind of a mode. It's just we have to balance that with the sensitivity that comes with this. And this is a time when you should be in this reflective state and you should be in flow and be careful with yourself. Recognize that we're all going to be sensitive in this moment and try to just really embrace the solar energy, which is still that sun in Cancer, which is still this loving, flowing energy of protection, of motherhood, of connecting to the family, right? And as long as we balance it with that, we'll be good. All right. So the big imagery for today's tarot, when I was doing my meditations and I was trying to come up with a name, the card I drew was the Aeon. And the Aeon is such a profound card, right? It's that judgment in the Rider Waite. You know, it's that finality and it's the new beginning. It's the if you look at the card from Lady Frida Harris's art, you see the God in behind, right, giving birth to the child, Horus becoming Harpocrates, and it's done through the invocation of the word, right, utilizing that divine reason, invoking oneself into being, and in such powerful, profound energy. And there's a duality here. On one hand, it's about embracing the ending, accepting the judgment, moving through this process of shedding the past, right? And being born anew in a new reflected image, right? Letting yourself become something greater and something new. That Harpocrates reborn, right? He's still Horus, right? But it's a new energy reflected in a new way. And this is what we're meant to embody, right? Yesterday, we had that profound energy of the magician, which is about invoking one's will and going in movement. Now, this is about what happens once you invoke the will. Now you've brought the transformation upon yourself. Now you have to go through the death and the rebirth in a very physical sense. And it's also a continuation of that magical act. So much of the magical act is about projection and imagining yourself, about donning the costume and engaging in performance, about wearing a mask. So the Aeon is about creating and donning a new mask, about beginning a new performance, right? Who are you? What do you wish to be? Where are you going? Where are you projecting yourself, right? This is the true magic. if you're going to do that kind of hyper sigil magic, you have to imagine who you're going to be. If you want to be some grandiose magician, imagine yourself as that, and you can become that. And that's the secret with the Aeon. And that's the magic that we're talking about today with this moon and Scorpio energy, right? Not only invoking that power, but then going through the transformation and donning a new mask. All right. So now we're going to go to our sortes. And I wanted to bring a new book for you guys. This is a fun one. The Stories of Vikramaditya. So this is a collection of stories that were written around the 11th and 13th centuries, all following this mythical king, Vikramaditya of the country of Ujjain. And he's sort of like an ideal king figure. And this particular collection comes from a group of books called the 32 Tales of the Throne. You know, lots of really interesting magic in here. Vikramaditya meets up with the Nagas in several points, the snake people. So it's right up my alley. I'm sure we'll find some beautiful guidance from the muses with it. So for those of you unfamiliar, the sortes is a form of bibliomancy. That's divination through literature, where we invoke the gods or the goddesses of inspiration, the muses. We ask them to guide our hand, to inspire us, and to send us a message through the text. We read a line at random and reread it out of context, and that's our message from the muses. So that's what we're going to do. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from the Vikramaditya? All right. On receiving them, Aparanji walked home briskly, without once looking back, while the Kanti brothers looked on her receding form, which had been petrified behind them. Oh my gosh. That's wild. Okay. On receiving them, Aparanji walked home briskly, without once looking back, while the Kanti brothers looked on her receding form, petrified behind them. I don't know about you, but that sounds like the Corey to me. It smells a bit like Persephone, you know? That's beautiful energy, beautiful, right? And the message there is not to look back, right? It's to go forward and flow in transformation, you know? You can reflect upon the past, you can go to the underworld, but you cannot take from the past and bring into the present. That which is dead has died and must be reborn anew, you know? That's the story. That's what's happening with Orpheus, you know? He fails to do that. And it's also, his story goes dark, right? Because not only does he fail to rekindle his love and to bring back Eurydice with complete disregard for her. You know, there's a beautiful poem by H.D. about this, where Eurydice is talking about how she's pulled from the underworld confused, only to be given a glimpse at life and have it smote out from her again, to suffer in torment because of Orpheus's greed. Highly recommend people check that out. And then we know what happens to Orpheus after, right? The heartbreak and loss that he feels when he cannot have his divine Eurydice leads him to take up the practice of the Herculean ways, to turn from women to young boys. And then the Maenads rip him apart for this. And his head becomes stuck upon his lyre, and it floats down the ocean and winds up at the island of Lesbos, where it becomes installed as an oracle. Oof. Lots of wildness there. Okay. So we're going to go, since we're getting the underworld, let's hop over to the underworld. This is a great book by the Sepulchre Society, which explores the underworld and from various different mythological perspectives and cultural perspectives, and tries to approach it from that magical practitioner viewpoint. All right, muses, guide my hand. What is the message from the underworld? Let's go. The second is the dream mantra of Varahi. If the necromancer has a specific question or decision, then they should undertake to recite this mantra before going to bed. It is said that reciting it 108 times nightly for a month provides her worshippers with a nocturnal vision of her in which she will answer specific questions. Well, I guess I got to read you guys the mantra. All right. Om Hreem Namo Varahi Agorhi Swapnam Dareshya Taha Taha Swaha. Wow. I'll post that on the Discord if anyone is interested. But if you remember from our sortes the other day, Varahi seems to be also related to the Kori. So now we're giving instructions about how to connect to her in our dreams. Beautiful. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. And the muse keeps throwing stuff around here. Okay. We're going to go to the name of the rose. It's interesting. I was chatting with a good friend of mine on Discord, Wretch, and he's really interested in the study of symbols and semiotics. And when I think semiotics and symbols, I think The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco. If you are interested in comparative mythology and in understanding symbols and in breaking down the psychological meaning of things from a primordial perspective, Umberto Eco is a must-read. And this is a really fun book. There's a great movie, too, with Sean Connery. It's just nowhere near as magical, unfortunately. All right, muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Umberto Eco in The Name of the Rose? Okay. Perhaps it would be good if they were enemies of the people of God. Perhaps it would be good if they were enemies of the people of God. Wow. And then it says, Nicholas said piously. I think, though, there is a twist to this, right? Perhaps it would be good if they were enemies of the people of God. Nicholas said piously. These are in the words of a monk. This is a justification for violence, right? How do people utilize and create tension and division and exploit violence? They turn people into enemies of each other, right? They make it about us against them. You're against the people of God. We're not against anyone. Don't be against anyone, right? This is a discussion of ideas, right? Not about people. We can disagree on just about everything, as long as you don't disagree about my right to exist and be human. Everything else is free to yell about, But I think the point of this message is to understand and recognize, right? Perhaps it would be good if they were enemies of the people of God, said piously. That's what they want you to be. They want you to be their enemy so that they can invoke divine justice against you. Don't play those games. Peace and love, my friends. All right, let's continue. Okay. We're going to go to the Parvati Darpana, beautiful book on Kashmiri Shaivism, and really expands upon this mythopoetic image of Shiva and Parvati, and specifically Parvati's mirror. This idea of Parvati representing that matter, and Shiva perceiving himself reflected in the matter and awakening through that perception. Beautiful, beautiful book. All right, muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Parvati Darpana? Okay. Without the cognition of Parvati, Shiva's awareness would stay limited to a mere passive and solemn I am. Wow. To be in that I am state is to be alone, to be passive, to be somnolent. Right? Is that true peace or love or anything worth being? You are limited to a mere passive reception of the universe, a solemn aham, right? You have to have cognition of Parvati, cognition of the matter, right? It is she who exalts Shiva's mind and makes it ready for the final, restful, wondrous realization. I've said this passage before. This is as if I opened it to this page. This page really deeply impacted me the first time I read it when I was like 17, 18. And this line from Tagore is one of my favorites of all time. It says, "This principle of unity is the mystery of all mysteries. The existence of a duality at once raises a question in our minds, and we seek its solution in the one. When at last we find a relation between these two and thereby see them as one in essence, we feel that we have come to the truth, and then we give utterance to this most startling of all paradoxes, that the one still appears as many. That appearance is the opposite of truth, and yet it is inseparable and related to it." Right? There's no denying of the world. It's one and many. Okay, let's continue. We are going to go to my dear friend Graham's incredible poetry collection, The Shape of My Will. All right. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Graham? Okay. Without you, I would have died. Wow. What is it to be inactive and solemn, to be nothing but a passive observer without movement? Might as well have been dead. Without you, without that love, without the other, without that perception, there is nothing, right? I always try to remind people, when you think about this concept of the one, what is the one, right? Imagine the one is the book, right? How do you talk about it? Language breaks down. There's just a book. Form a sentence. Book, 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 right? In order to understand anything, there must be something in relation to book. If book exists, there's nothing. Doesn't matter if book exists because there's nothing to perceive book as other. Wow. Deep stuff to think on tonight, people. All right, we're going to go to The Jaguar and the Priest. I've been loving this book lately, An Ethnography of Zetzel Souls, where Pedro Pitarch goes to Chiapas, Mexico, and works with the indigenous Zetzel-speaking people and explores this concept of the soul from their perspective. Really beautiful book. All right. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from The Jaguar and the Priest? The great mother suckles the children in turns. It isn't complete milk, only the soul of the milk. And when they have finished, she returns them to the mother sisters, who, after bathing and dressing them, hand them over to the big small ones, the young children, whose job it is to take them out and keep them occupied. Well, here's our message from the Great Mother in how the universe unfolds in the levels of responsibility. The Great Mother suckles the children in turns. It isn't complete milk, only the soul of the milk. And when they have finished, she returns them to the mother sisters, who, after bathing and dressing them, hand them over to the big small ones, the children whose job it is to take them out and keep them occupied. For those with ears to hear, right? Beautiful. Wow. You know, it's this idea that we are nourished by that mother, but then we are cared by the mother sisters, right? And by our community. All participate in the rearing. All participate in turning a child into an adult, right? It's beautiful, beautiful energy. And it's that recognition of that traditional system of raising a child. Okay, let's continue. We're going to go to the Psychic Bible. Beautiful book by Genesis Peorage and the Temple of Psychic Youth. All right. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Genesis and the Temple of Psychic Youth? They speak panic. They conquer from within. From within. Whispering words of panic in an inner ear, suggesting, conniving, adding brushstrokes to the pictures of the last few days. They speak panic. They conquer from within. From within. Whispering words of panic to an inner ear, suggesting conniving, adding brushstrokes to the pictures of the last few days. Again, for those with ears to hear, what is the panic? The panic is the experience of Pan, to lose oneself in the perception of the all, right? To be flooded and become one in the ocean. And that is a panic. It requires a giving over in order to understand and to experience the divine flow, right? To hear those whispering words, right? To see the picture, to be able to perceive into the future and witness that divination, to truly divine, you must enter into the mania and the fear that that panic brings. And it's that experience of losing the self in the flow of the universe. Because the universe is all one living entity, even as we exist as also infinitely separate living entities. And it is that ability to move from our perception, from that individuality to that macrocosmic ultimate. You can become that grandmother, right? Or you can be that infinite Saturnian point. Wow. Beautiful. We're going to go to Lorca. Yeah. All for one and one for all. I'll just say this, my friends. Everyone needs to read. Everyone needs to read freaking The Three Musketeers. I'll bring that onto the stream soon. I have a copy coming in. So that'll be fun. All right, we're going to go to Lorca. Lorca is one of the greatest playwrights of all time. Everyone should read The Blood Wedding. Let's see what the muses have to inspire us from Lorca. All right, muse, guide my hand. What is the message? Passionately, that's it. Try. I say to you, child, yes, for you I'll torn and be broken. How painful is this belly now, where first you shall be cradled? When, child, when will you come back to me? More great mother. Is she ever with us today? That's it. Try. I shall say to you, child, yes. For you, I'll be torn and be broken. How painful is this belly now, where first you shall be cradled? When, child, will you come? Will you return back to me? Wow. When are we going to return back to that womb? When are we going to recognize that nature in the universe around us as this mother? When are we going to see the life around us, the care around us? When are we going to stop thinking in this selfish egoic mode of I, of ignoring the mother, abusing her and using her to our own ends again and again, right? She who cradled us, who gave us life. We must see the beauty in her, reflect upon her and see ourselves. All right. Wow. Intense today. We're going to go to An Independent People. This is a beautiful book by Haldor Lackness about a man, Bjartor, who tries to achieve that independence, who tries to create a life for himself, to build his own farm, to be his own independent person, to really excise that will. But there's always a cost to excising the will. And how independent? How much has to be you? What is the cost? Everyone should read this book. It's a brutal read, but it's a real read. All right, muses. What is the message from Laxness and An Independent People? All right. Guide my hand. Inspire us today. Finally, he could find no words strong enough and squealed. The bitch squealed too. It was pure blasphemy and availed nothing. The faint blue gleam in the east, dull and sluggish. Oh, wow. What is the faint blue gleam in the east, but not Venus? She was dull and sluggish. He's cursing the great mother. Finally, he could find no words strong enough and squealed. The bitch squealed too. It was pure blasphemy, and it availed nothing. The faint blue gleam in the east, dull and sluggish. You can fight and scream against the world and against the flow, against time, against nature. You can transform it, you can degrade it, you can spit upon it, but you are bound by it. And that energy from the east will ever be shining its dim glow long after our light has burned out. Right? Beautiful. All right. Let's keep going. I'm having fun with this sortes today. Edgar Allan Poe. Such an important poet. And as writer of stories. And a dragon. Everyone should read. All right, muses, what is the message from Poe? Inspire us today. And the treatment. What was the particular species of treatment which the leader of rebels put into operation? Why, as for that, a madman is not necessarily a fool, as I have already observed. And it is my honest opinion that his treatment was much better than that which it superseded. Wow. I have read this line before, maybe on stream, or was it for a client? I can't remember, but I've read this line as a sortes before. And the treatment, what was the particular species which the leader of rebels put into operation? Why, as for that, a madman is not necessarily a fool. Wow. Sometimes those of us that we perceive as mad are blessed with mania, right? Oh, but to be Cassandra, to scream and scream and scream until your loved ones lock you in the tower, and to scream and scream as they all get murdered. Oof, scary energy to embody. Wow. Let's continue. Bullfinch's mythology. A really fun book. And something I tell people to keep an eye out for. I got this for quite seriously, $5. Okay, you can find this all over in thrift shops, and it's a great read, a lot of fun. Okay, Muses. What is the message from Bullfinch's mythology? Inspire us. Okay. This tree, with its sacred deposit, was shortly after felled and erected as a column in the palace of the king of Phoenicia. Hail the holy purple. Hail Dionysus, Dionyso, Lord of the trees. The grand pillar, the great phallus that must be erected to establish kings, right? The pillars of Hercules at Phoenicia. Wow. Where does a high priestess stand but in between those pillars, right? The poles. It is she who is that balance between the black and the white. That is powerful, magical energy. This tree with its sacred deposit was shortly after felled and erected as a column in the palace of the king of Phoenicia. Wow. This is powerful Isis type magic right now. Astarte, beautiful. Originally, the columns were wood, yeah, right? They were trees. Interesting. Wow. Let's continue. So much mother goddess, that great mother, that queen of starry heaven. She is here today. Big presence. Okay, Chapman's Homer. The Iliad and the Odyssey. What is the message? Okay. The king turned to his tent, rich arms put upon his breast. He took 2 darts in hand, and forthwith he flew. His haste on him made him look much like a fiery meteor, with which Jove's sulphury hand ops heaven and hurls about the bright flashes. Wow. Showing Allen abodes that ever run before tempests and plagues to men. The king turned to his tent, rich arms put upon his breast, and took 2 darts in hand. And forthwith he flew. His haste on him made look much like a fiery meteor, with which Jove's sulphury hand ops heaven, and hurls about the air bright flashes, showing Allen abodes that ever run before the tempests and plague of men. Wow. I want to point out a couple of things here. Much like a fiery meteor. Mother Goddess imagery again. Because the star that descends to the earth are these mother sisters, right? Are these fiery nymphs. With Jove's sulphury hand. Sulfur, this is the key magical element related to the sun, to Medean's mysteries, Ops heaven, the ops. This is that divine face, right? Also, the goddess in her form as ops, the wife of Zeus, right? That holy, beautiful face. Remind me of goddesses like Asterope, the secret missing Pleiades, the star that falls, right? And sometimes it's Mariope. But this ops, the face, right? Helen has the ops. Medea has the ops. The ops is a gift of Hecate and Helios. It gives you that power to inspire. It's that divine beauty. Wow. Wild. Wild, wild, wild. Okay. For our final sword taste tonight, we're going to go to Antonin Artaud, Watch Fiends and Rack Screens. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from the great magician Artaud? And that is the mystery of man, which God the Spirit has never ceased pestering. Oh my gosh. I'm going to go back to the previous line here because there's something here. Here's the previous line. It says, "For it has been said from time immemorial that the illiterate is a mystery without alpha and without omega, but with a head, 2 legs, and arms. The oaf, the oafish illiterate of the simple, which is man and doesn't understand. He understands that he is head and arms and legs to get that trunk moving, and that there is nothing else apart from that. This totem of eyelids, ears, and nose, drilled by 20 fingers. What is the mystery? And that is the mystery of man, which God the Spirit has never ceased in pestering. You're a body, and the universe is a series of bodies. That which is above is the same as that which is below." Beautiful. Gotta love our friend Arto. Always has some wisdom to share. So let's go to Ganapati, Ganesha. Be inspired by that great Lord of the Threshold, right? The divine child, that incredible bringer of joy, the one who can send our messages and make sure they are heard. The first person we pray to, right? Beautiful. Sustenance. Sustenance. That divine Amrit, the Soma, right? The wine, the dew. Engaging with that sustenance is, again, it's about the tasting. To really perceive the natural world, you have to taste it. You must be sustained by it. You have to consume the world around you. You are a part of this grand play. Life and death, consumption, sustenance. This is deep magic, right? Beauty and ugly in single form. Nourish yourself on that holy energy, right? The divine soma, the panspermia. All right. Let us continue. All right. Before I hop over to our tarot this evening, please take a moment and give me a like and a subscribe. The likes really do make a big difference. They really do boost this in the algorithm. And it's a good way to send me karma and a little blessing. I really appreciate it. And if you are interested in a private reading, you can send me an email, snappyddts@gmail.com, or you can reach out to me on the Myth and Lore Discord. I am Snappy or Lady Snappy. All right, thank you guys for listening to my spiel. And we're going to do our Saturn Square reading today with our Thoth Tarot by Lady Frida Harris and Aleister Crowley. This is where we invoke that spirit of Saturn Chronos. We dissect our life, cut it up, put it on the plate, and look at the interconnections and see how we best move and flow, how we best evolve and move away from conflict, and how we manifest our true will. I had a card shoot right out at me, and the center card is always the most important. Today's center is that Queen of Swords, right? This is that profound feminine energy in that logical pursuit, right? The queens are all about kinship building. What does the queen do? She nourishes those around her. She uplifts everyone around her. The queen is in that pursuit of logic, right? Of the air. And she's, as such, is the ultimate teacher, the one who has the wisdom to share. Let's see where her energy is going. Yeah. Connected to the divine work, right? What is this energy? What are we supposed to be doing? We're meant to be embodying this queen energy, this energy of the logical teacher, the one who gives. That's our work. That is what we offer and we share, you know? And we utilize the logic of this queen in this work, in building what we need to get done so that we can be in that reasoned approach. Okay. Wow. On the other side, we have the young man, the Prince of Cups, showing up. This is really profound energy. The Prince of Cups is deeply connected to that energy of Attis, Gallus, the young man who has fallen into matter. But what we see here is that young man is now going through the process of rejecting the nymphs. He is being carried upon that divine beast, that Helios. He's rising up above the mud and going through the transformation, connecting to that divine feminine, that emotional center, right? If he continues along this path, he will be reborn into the queen. Beautiful, beautiful, profound energy here, loving energy. And we have that connected to this Queen of Swords. So the key to this work, to building this work, is balancing these energies in conjunction, right? This outgoing person who's trying to bring that flow, that love, who's doing the hard work of reflecting upon the self and rising out of the mud. And that profound teacher, that one who has the knowledge to share and to give. Let's see where this is going. Okay. At our top, the Tower. Connected to this Queen of Wands, what we're seeing is that there was a collapse. There was something that fell apart. This could be a relationship, a collaboration, a job, but something fell that has now caused this energy to become paramount, right? As a reaction to this fall, we are needing to move in this logical mode and work with the people around us to rebuild, right? To take from this violent fall of the tower and to transform it into something new and beautiful. See where this energy is going. Yeah. Related to this tower, to this fall, was a deep partnership, a loving connection, right? And this was a connection about building things in that divine feminine way, in that deeply traditional way of connecting to those traditional wisdom, right? This is that energy of Venus and Taurus, but embodied in the earth in that masculine outgoing energy. So what we're seeing is that this is related to the fall. This energy is kind of what has fallen apart. Let's see where we're going. And there's a worry here. It's interesting. The tower is signaling that this hierophant, this connection, this pursuit in this traditional way has broken, and there is a deep sense of worry that this is brought about. We're having trouble learning and figuring out how we overcome this fall and how we move about in a new way. And this is why that energy of the queen is so necessary, because she can do the reasoned action to transform this 5 into the 6, right? The 5 of worry is one step away before reason, right? You just need to apply a slight bit more of that logical energy. And we see it connected on the diagonal to this queen. Interesting. But we have this fall, this deep worry about the fall. And this fall seems to be about this traditional partnership and this pursuit of the traditional wisdom, embodying this kind of priestly energy. Let's see where this is going. Wow. What is this fall resulting in? What is this connection to this logical pursuit of becoming this teacher? It results in loving connections, happiness, expansive happiness, right? The 9 in cups. The 9 is the most powerful, expansive number. And here we have it in the cups. So this is ever-growing, expansive love, right? These cups are overflowing. They're filling into others, and they're filling into others, right? This is that teacher who is able to teach something profound, and then that knowledge flows out like amaranth, sacred knowledge. Beautiful. Wow. Now that's what I want to see. Where's this going? You can't make this up. That happiness, this knowledge that we're sharing, it's this divine feminine, that lust, that strength, that Sibylle, drawing down those stars, right? Embodying that femininity and bringing it into the physical world, challenging the status quo, invoking that love, that profound active love, right? That brings transformation, right? The goddess as strength, she can wrestle the lion, right? She can overcome the violence. She can take the thorn from his side and turn him into her best friend. That's incredible magic. And that's what we're seeing on display here, right? What is the Queen of Swords going to do? They're transforming this fall through this loving divine energy, right? And they're manifesting happiness. And it's through that logical lens, through that teaching lens. See where it's going. Yeah. We must embody that energy of the priestess. We must be that priestess of the Queen of Heaven, right? She of many names, that red goddess, And when we bring her, it's going to abound this loving happiness. This is where we're being called, right? This queen, she's called in this logical way to embody that priestess. Wow. It's interesting because we're seeing a flip, right? We're seeing a flip from that practical masculine approach to the mystery to the intuitive feminine approach to the mystery. Two sides of the same coin, the same fundamental goal, but a shift in direction brought about through logical transformation, right? And a connecting to that feminine side. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right. Before I flip and you guys can see the full Saturn square, please, once again, give me a like and a subscribe. It really does make a big difference. And it boosts everything in that algorithm. And if you're interested, you can reach out to me at snappydts@gmail.com or on the Myth and Lore Discord and inquire about a private reading. I would love to chat with you. Or if you're just looking to chat, I'm on the Myth and Lore Discord. I'm always looking to have good conversations with cool people. Come have fun. All right. Let us flip. Here we go. Here is our total square unfolded. Let's start here. So we have that work. What is the work about? Wow. The work is interesting because we still have this Hierophant energy here. And it is helpful in this regard because it is helping us do the work to connect to that divine lust, that strength, that Lady Babylon, right? It's giving us the ability to draw down the star. And this work is necessary, right, to connect to her, right? And we're doing that through this traditional knowledge, through those rites, through connecting and doing it in that very methodical way. Interesting. Beautiful. Okay. When we come here, yeah, we have that fall that's causing this energy of the Queen of Swords to come in and bring that profound happiness, right? As a result of this fall, we have to rise to the occasion to become this queen, right? That divine teacher. And if we can teach and share our knowledge, our love, it'll exponentially grow in profound happiness, right? Beautiful. When we go here, we have that Prince of Cups, that young, immature energy, right? That young man. This is that student, the person we're trying to show, we're trying to teach, right? What does the Queen of Swords do? Her work is helping people know the self, helping people rise out of the waters through that power of the beast, right? Ascend and do the hard work of transformation to recognize their own divinity. That's the work that we're engaged in. That's what the high priestess does, right? She inspires people to become like Attis and do the hard work. There's deep worry here, right? About engaging in this, about doing this and inspiring others to do this. And I think that this is that energy of doubt, right? Imposter syndrome. But if we can embody this queen, we can transform this worry into reason. It's only one sword away. right? It's within our grasp. Beautiful. Let's continue. We're now going to do our cross. And we'll start with this one, right? Worry to that queen, to that Lady Babylon. The key to connecting, to finish, we've already started with this energy. We're doing the work of connecting to Lady Babylon. We're learning the wisdom. We're learning the rites. We're going to the books. We're learning the Greek, right? We're doing that hard part. Now we need to be in that logical, reasoned teacher mode where we can take the worry that's holding us back and transform it into reason. The 5 must become 6. And when the 5 can become 6, we can draw down that star, right? Look at these 2 cards. They're the fulfillment of each other, right? Attis, through rising upon that beast, goes through the divine transformation, and he becomes that divine feminine, writhing upon the beast. He flips the poles. He rejects the material and transforms his entire reality from water to fire. That's the game, the energy we're going for here. The key is overcoming that worry, right? And here, we need to move from the masculine pursuit of knowledge in books, in law, through that logical feminine. It's not about a rejection of the logic of the Hierophant. It's a rejection of the Hierophant's masculine energy, right? We need to embody the priestess, the one who connects to the moon, the intuitive, who goes with the flow. The difference here is the Hierophant speaks, right? He speaks for God. The Pope is the voice of God on earth. No, this will not work for us. The priestess is not the voice of God. She hears the voice of God, right? She hears the voice of the mother. She can divine that way, right? He can proclaim and set laws. She can see the future. And the key to us is kind of coming in that between. We take the logic of the Hierophant, we take the femininity of the priestess, we embody that Queen of Swords, we overcome reason, we become that divine Lady Babylon. We finish the transformation of Attis Gallus, of Zagreus, right? We bring that divine happiness. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful. We just need to keep doing the hard work, right? Go through that transformation, embody that divine feminine, connect to the moon, overcome worry. Wow. All right, everyone. I hope that really resonated with you. It truly resonated with me. I'll say that much. Okay, we're going to do one more sortes, and then we're going to call it an evening. We are going to return to Umberto Eco in the Name of the Rose. Muses, what is the final sortes for this evening? What is the message from Umberto Eco? At this point, they would no longer heed reason or justice, but only power and their own caprice. Wow. At this point, they would no longer heed reason or justice, but only power and their own caprice. I think this is a deep message for people who are caught in our current political situation. This has nothing to do with justice. This has nothing to do with anything like that. No reason is to be found here. I suggest that everyone try to protect themselves, to be in that state of self-awareness, and to just be watchful. You're going to have to move through the own. People are going to have to feel that transformation of power. They're going to have their hubris challenged. It's already been set in motion. All right, everyone. Peace and love. A somber message to end with, but a powerful one. Wow, I just glanced down and there was another one that spoke to me. It says, actually, they wanted to just escape their own wretched land. That's the truth. We all want to escape our own wretched existence. Recognize that in each other. Be in love and flow. All right, everyone. Take care. And I'll see you all tomorrow at our next reading. Thank you.